Welcome to the Outer Realm with Michelle Desrochers and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday night segment of The Outer Realm. We are broadcasting live on United Public Radio Network, UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 from the Gulf Coast, 107.7 FM from the beautiful city of New Orleans. We are fully sponsored by the amazing people over at Folgers Coffee who have been a part of our journey since day one. Thank you, Folgers. We couldn't do it without you, nor would we want to. Also, big thank you to Justice Snicker, a.k.a. Dr. Sick, the Sonic Surgeon, for his contribution of his time, his music, and his voice for the intro that you just heard. He is an award-winning composer of Halloween, horror, sci-fi, and dark wave electronic music, which can be found on all of your favorite music streaming platforms. Also, big thank you to Steve McGinnis, the artist behind all of the banners and logos here at the show. Check him out on Facebook and Instagram. Also specializes in the horror genre, but does amazing commission pieces. So tonight, I am so happy that my dear friend Kerrilynn Shellhorn, who's going to be our guest host. Amelia's under the weather, boo, send her love and light. And Kerrilynn is host of Spirit Switchboard, which is on tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And she's got an amazing guest. You want to talk about your guest coming on tomorrow?
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Welcome. Pleasure.
So tomorrow night I have a lady coming on named Lily Nova, and she has a great story, like a really great story about spiritual awakening. She's a CE5 practitioner, so she is connecting in with her star family, and she wrote a book about it, and she's going to be coming on talking about DNA activations tomorrow.
Ooh, that'll be fun. So check out Kerrilynn has a lot of fun on her show, so I highly recommend it. It's a great way to sit down and spend your Friday evening. So we got put aside, 2 hours, much like our show. So yes, we have open mic, and I know everybody gets really excited about open mic, and we'd like to start off with a couple of things that there's just, I always like to kind of get into high strangeness in the news and things of that sort. But where I'm going to start with is Easter Island. And the reason I'm doing it will become evident as Kerrilynn starts talking about it. But I wanted to start off with it because, of course, you know, Maria Wheatley was on last night talking about monoliths and things of that nature. And we've seen all kinds of crazy destruction happening. You know, the Georgia Guides, so no, they're not ancient, but they were still there. They were still, you know, monuments. Love them, don't love them. You know, it kind of sucks that they were taken down, maybe on purpose. Powers that be, meh, you know. But what I want to discuss this time is Easter Island. Did you guys know that Easter Island, I'm just going to try to bring this up. Hold on. I'm going to try to bring this up. Share the screen. Hold on. Okay. All right. This way, as I'm scrolling through, I don't know why this is like that. Yes, I accept. All right already. Easter Island has irreparable damage to famous Moai statues, and a fire swept through. And you would think they're stone, right? So how could there be irreparable damage? Well, I don't know. Look at this. They're just charred to the point where it's described as damage as irreparable. They're totally charred, and you can see the effects of fire upon them. How sad is that? And they don't believe, it says in this article, if I can find it. See, look at that. It's heartbreaking to me because I really love anything that's ancient. But they're saying that they don't believe this was an accident. And if that's the case, somebody's got too much damn time on their hands. Just saying, you know. So they were closed for 2 years, of course, because of this guy right here. And they opened up and they had a problem. So that's really not cool. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because of people being destructive. And Kerrilynn and I were talking about how people who like to go researching and investigating, even in the field of the paranormal, tend to do several different things, like damaging headstones and cemeteries, which are not always haunted. And you made a good point as well.
Or taking items, like going in and removing items as a trophy or a keepsake, right? So it's still destruction.
Right.
We have a similar, I'm a dirt and rock person too.
Dirty little secrets.
Yes. Cemetery dirt. Yes.
I know. It's true. I admit it. I like to take soil and or stones, from places,
but not from the building necessarily itself, but from location. And there's always so many different thoughts. Like, was that fire on Easter Island? Was it? They're saying it was purpose.
It is
human error.
It said right here, the Easter Island mayor, Pedro Edmonds Paua, said he believed the fire was not an accident, and that all the fires on Rapa Nui, if I'm saying that right, are caused by human beings.
Right. So caused by human beings still leaves that sort of open-ended, not necessarily purposeful. Like,
well, not an accident.
Not an accident.
Pretty much opens it up for me as somebody being more vindictive, because accidents happen. I mean, you shouldn't even be camping on there, but I guess it's like a big national park of sorts. So if you're camping and everything's, locked down and people are camping or having barbecues or whatever the case may be, accidents happen, but they believe it was not an accident.
Interesting. It's sad. It makes my chest heavy sad.
It does. It does. And a few years before that happened, some guy came in a pickup truck. Remember, this is a South Chile, south of Chile. This is like an island. See, they basically said that this truck came in and started trying to run down the statues and knock them over and things like that. Well, first off,
what is their agenda? Like what is their thought process that to destroy the monument? It's like throwing paint on or like stuff on the paintings in the museum as well too, right? Is it what's their voice? What are they trying to raise attention to?
Like, what is
it's just letting if they're not laying claim to it and standing there laying claim and accountability for my reason and drawing attention to it, it's
right. I don't know. Is there, like, to me, you're crying out for attention. What it was like, I'm just going to be famous for doing this. Like, I don't know what it is, It's like when John Lennon was shot, his killer, I don't even like to give an iota of mention to give him what he wanted. He said, well, I just wanted to be famous. Shut up. This is, people do things for no real reason, to destroy priceless artwork, to destroy history. I mean, look at the Taliban. They did it when I think, what was it? When was it Iraq or when, what country was that? One of them, when there was war, I think it was the first Gulf War, they went in and they destroyed one of the sleeping Buddhas that was inside of a mountain. And they went in and just bombed it. This isn't our religion, our way of life. No, but it was there before. It's sort of like all the statues are taking down now. Is it trying to erase history?
Erase history. I was just going to say, trying to retell history in their own perspective and create a different narrative.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It hurts my heart.
It does, because there's
literally hurts my heart.
Yeah, there's so much stuff that was here long before us, and like I always say, we're not the first kick at the can, but they're finding things that are like hundreds of millions of years old or tens of thousands of years old, pre-ice age.
Still
Like,
discovering.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And now with technology, we talked a little bit about this with Kathleen Wheatley um, last night. And it was just like, what the heck? You know what I mean? It's just, I should say Maria Wheatley, sorry. It's LiDAR and satellites are finding everything, but
Oh,
do we want them to? With the way things are
well,
going right now.
yeah. Do we want them to? But there's answers in that too, right?
There's a lot of answers in that, but at what cost? You know, exposing all of this incredible stuff, at what cost? Are we sacrificing any? That sleeping Buddha was old, and apparently countries from around the world, organizers like archaeologists, started pleading with them to please not destroy it. It was that old, and they did. They
Wow.
bought it. So I think, you know, fear-based destruction. Maybe in some cases. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't. Big egos.
Yeah.
Big egos. I don't know. It's sad that for those of us who are curious and wanting to know and are able to respectfully look at history and want to preserve it, have to have that fear of holding back or not sharing. And then we'll never know answers to everything if we have to hold back information, right?
Right. It's true. I find we're having a little bit of that going on in modern times with statues being removed, books being burned. We seem to go through this cycle every now and then. But I do think
we can't pretend those things didn't happen, because they did.
Oh, exactly. But what happens when, let's say, our generation comes to pass and our children's generation comes to pass? By the time the next generation comes in, they've never known any of that existed.
Mm-hmm.
It's gone, you know. But I mean, these are ancient monuments. I mean, the guy with the truck is kind of like, he figures he's going to knock them over. These things are bigger underground than they are above
Is
ground.
there mental health, some issues there with that too?
I vaguely remember it. I just remember all of these photos with a pickup truck up against, some of the stones, and they had just destroyed the terrain. So
what was it? And the tree, there was a tree that was chopped down.
Oh, right, the tree at Hadrian's Wall in the U.S. or in UK.
Yeah,
Thing was like ancient, and they just come in, cut it down.
Wasn't it the most photographed tree in the world too? The most photographed tree.
Yeah. It's just it will never. It's almost like somebody just wants to sit and read about themselves, because they just.
Did they come forward, the people with the tree?
Apparently, allegedly it was some 16-year-old boy, and a lot of people came forward and went, there is no way a 16-year-old boy would hike up there with a chainsaw and do that. There's just no way.
Yeah,
and
that doesn't make sense to me either. But
well,
without a little help,
right? Well, there were some people who thought, there's a lot of distractions that go on in the world during crazy times, meant to hide other things. I'll leave it there. And what better way to do it than take down this beautiful historical monument?
Right. It's like a Penn and Teller show, right? It's the art of distraction.
Right. I know. That's exactly, I kind of looked at that and went, okay. But obviously I wasn't the only one, because a lot of people really came forward. People really got mad about that one.
A lot of people.
Yeah. And some things get more attention than others. Like, for some reason, I'm usually on top of everything. And when I saw, this Easter Island thing, I'm just like, how did I miss this? Like,
I think that we get so caught in our lane with all the things that we're doing. Some stuff is just naturally going to slip by us, right? Even
all the
if
time.
we would like to be on top of things. I'm always way behind.
I know. I'm starting to think I'm getting there, because it's like, come on, for God's sakes, But I do think that in the field, the paranormal field, This is something that's been going on for obviously a really long time. I remember I was telling you before the show, and we're going back probably about 17 years ago, really long time. I was asked to submit photos for an article, and at the time was Ghost Magazine. I don't know if it still exists or not, because they were doing an article on vandalism in cemeteries. And not long after that, the ghost tours that I had been a part of, they had their cemetery vandalized, and we had permission from the church and the city to do tours through there, because even the pastor, the priest of the little church would have all these great paranormal stories. And we always were very respectful. The police would, they knew we had permission. Nobody ever gave us a problem because it was a guided, proper tour. But somewhere along the line, it got vandalized. And I thought, my God, and stories of it were just surfacing everywhere. So
I don't. And again, is it bravado? Is it alcohol induced? In like
That's a
chemical
good one.
induced?
Yeah, I know. I know.
If it's just destruction, right? And not necessarily that something's being removed.
Right. And taking mementos. Do you think people take mementos from haunted places because they think they're going to bring back a little piece of this haunting, or they just want the souvenir? Because it can happen. I mean, we've helped people who have taken things they shouldn't have taken, and they've had to return them.
So my brain goes in so many different directions. I think of all kinds of different questions. My first question too is, if it is a haunted place, could the spirits that are there see that, oh, this one, I can influence this one. We're going to take a ride out with this one, because this one, I can push that thought that they take something so that we can get a ride out.
See, that's a total perspective that I really didn't give credence to. Like, I didn't think about it right off the hop, because I've had so many people through the years call me and say, oh, I just took this and now I've had problems. Like, bring it back. Well, it's the other side of the world. Airmail it to somebody and bring it back. I don't know, because sometimes that's how you fix it. But
it's by returning it, for sure.
Being influenced.
Yeah, I think, because isn't there it's a place where they take stones and they tell them, do not take stones, because if you take stones from here, I think it's in Hawaii, if you take stones from here, you will have bad luck. And so they get the stones returned with apology letters.
Wow. I didn't listen.
Yes,
wow.
Sorry, I didn't listen.
Yeah, see, that's what Michelle says.
That's on their own, but
yeah, Hawaii.
Yeah. That's what I thought, Michelle.
When I went to the haunted forest, I had a list as long as my arm. You have to bring us back some soil. Everybody knows I like soil, right? Because I do. I like it. I like the earth, right? Or stone or something like that.
Well, there's energy to it, and we're going to pick up on it.
Everything's in glass. Anyway, so we came back as a group, because Mel and Adriana and I went, and we definitely, okay, not everybody got some. It's like we'd have to bring a backpack of the stuff back. So no, select few. But out of everybody who had them, one person had a really difficult time. And I think it was with one of the rocks, which I feel stone will actually hold that memory and that imprinted that energy the most, right? And it was really, things went crazy over there. And that had to be dealt with. Stone had to be removed and sent back. So it goes to show, in that case, why didn't anybody else have an issue? Why would that one person have the issue?
But there's so many different ways to look at it. Are they more fear-based, more open to, the idea that something could go sideways for them? So that's what happens. Like, what part of their belief system or generational, who knows? I mean, I had somebody tell me that I am the way that I am, and being able to connect because God cursed my family 10 generations back on the male side. So like if I believed that kind of stuff and then got a rock, then I could be,
Oh boy.
inviting something in just because of a belief system that's cultural.
Right. So it's like mindset, empowering
so.
it, I guess, in a way.
Like I have 2 apparently haunted dolls.
Right.
And have had nothing.
See, I feel the same way. I've done investigation where people have said, one it was a skull, right? And I had a weapon, give it to me, I can leave it at that, cause all kinds of havoc at this person's house because you need to take it out. I'm like, I don't feel right taking any of it because I'm sure it's very, that there's value here. And they're just like, no, you have to take it out or it's just going to go to the garbage, which after a while you find you become a caretaker of certain things. So it's like, okay. And I put that, and the skull, by the way, it's one of those, it's all encased in glass. Like it's called a phantom skull. It's used in universities and stuff like that. So this one came all the way from Germany, right? Anyway, I put that thing on the desk and the glass, the whole 9 yards. I think he's in the back, actually. He's just on one of the shelves. Yeah. And I put a baseball cap on. I'm like, all right,
girls. This way.
What?
There's the girls.
Oh, the dolls. Show the girls. I love it. Oh, anyway, that thing didn't do a darn thing. It was just like, I just sat there going, come on, like nothing. You're gonna give me nothing. So, but that's okay. I mean, obviously, liked it better at my place.
But how much of it is our own energy and what we're feeding into it? Like, I know that both you and I have very strong rules and boundaries with energies in our space as well too.
Yes.
And that also matters. Like I don't have time for shite.
Yes, pretty much how it goes.
In my space.
That's exactly right. Being in charge. I'm glad you said that because it goes to show you that you are in charge. Mm-hmm. Something, kind of infiltrates your space. We are very powerful and we can control, for the most part, how things go.
So then does that, if we're going to roll back into what we're talking about, could guilt create an issue with items that are taken as well too, if guilt comes in, and whether the guilt is projected or perceived, if it's their own perception of the guilt or if other people are saying, man, you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. See, I think it could. I'm a really big believer in mindset and how we project energy and how we take it in. I mean, I've seen people in horrific hauntings complete just by being educated and saying, well, do this, this, and this, like take charge and blah, 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 blah. And giving them something to do, even like just clearing multiple times, because you can't just do it once. It's, we can't, but it's a lifestyle change. I always say it's like you have this little bullseye on your back and you just have to really change what's going on up here. And I've seen people completely clear their own places just by being in control and saying, no, they feel empowered. They don't feel alone. And they have a lot of strong intention in the act of clearing, or they put a lot of power behind the words that they use, whatever the case may be, it gets itself resolved. So before we go too far.
Wayne is adding to your, yes.
Oh, wait, he does.
Two comments we have to get to.
We do. Yeah. Yes. Well, the house, which, we lived in Niagara Falls. Yeah. Previously owning a haunted home, I know people would take something from the haunted house because it's like some sort of badge of honor, an item that proves you were there. That's my thoughts going back in time. Okay, this is a different comment, but yes, I agree. So you go ahead and get this.
He's talking about the skull down low.
Oh, is he? Okay. Yeah, well,
I'll put it up.
Okay, you go ahead. Where are we? Okay. The Phantom Skull also had a World War II German helmet on it. It being a Russian skull, it could have been the whole issue. Well, the skull came from a university in Germany, if I'm not mistaken. And it was the other way around. It was a German helmet. It was a large German war or a Russian military collection, a museum. It was like a total museum in this space. It was unbelievable. So yes, I would say he may not have been happy. We switched it over to a Lord of the Rings baseball cap, and he was much happier. So, but yes, I think so. Okay, so next was this one about the soil. Do you want to take that one?
Wayne's just saying, my thoughts on that are this. Going back in time, could this person's lineage may have bad connections to the spirit owner of that land, stone, soil, etc. Yes, so ho'opono ono, all of that.
Yeah, all of the above.
Yeah.
Yes, I like that. Kathy.
Kathy is sharing, I've collected sand from everywhere I've gone with no issues. My daughter brought me back stones from Machu Picchu.
See, I would take that as a beautiful energy.
I agree. But I would, so me being me, I would go, okay, Machu Picchu, bring on some aliens.
It's like bringing back a piece of Machu Picchu. See, like I have brought back soil and stones from so many parts of the world, and I love it. I love it. I love to touch it and feel their energy. And we had Joshua Shapiro on to talk about crystal skulls, and he explained how you choose your own crystal skull, right? And how it has to resonate with you. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to bite. So I thought to myself, I want, because I have some lineage on my father's side that come up through Peru. So I wanted to get something from either Brazil or Peru. And I had to, like they say, he goes, when you look at it, you'll know. And I said, okay. So I found a black amethyst, which is really a smoky quartz with a very unusual face. I wanted the traditional, Aztec bottom. Here we go. But look at this nose. It's a sharp little nose.
Pointed
I know. It's just like, it's just a real pointed little thing. And it's this the smoky quartz is essentially like what black amethyst is.
Yeah.
And so I Googled it just to see why it resonated with me. I wanted to see its attributes, and it was completely me 100%. My entire personality just sitting there going, I guess you're the big winner. So anyway, I got him, and it came out of Brazil.
So do you think the crystal skull is tapping into your higher self, or your higher self led you, and vice versa, or all of the above?
I choose C.
Yeah.
All of the above. Or can I phone a friend? No. I felt
chat room.
I felt that I followed the instructions, and I went on to different sites and looked. I wanted something made by artisans who make these all the time. And instead, I ended up with somebody who didn't make them all the time. And this came out of a vein under a small town near Brazil. And I researched the area, and I was like, this is crazy. But I'm like, okay, I'm down for it because of the type of crystals that they have. And a lot of it is just, I kept thinking back to the original crystal skulls, but they're all over the world technically. But when I saw this one, it was the only one I've seen like this. I didn't want a typical crystal one. I wanted something really different. And I thought it kept coming back to me every single time I kept looking around, I kept coming back to it. And when I researched it, I went, now I know why. This is the one. It chose me.
Yeah.
And that's what they're supposed to do. They choose you, and you just resonate with it. And if you feel drawn to it, then that's when you're supposed to be with. And you can totally just, you can meditate with it, and it's an experience with it.
So, and it's very trippy. Like I have a chunk of amethyst that has a key in it, and I didn't know that what it was all about. But when when I went to that zony space, it was in the crystal I go, and it was a trippy, fun thing. So maybe I need to do a crystal skull. I mean, my son got me one for Mother's Day.
Okay, see, that's good.
But he got me one, so
right. No, but that's okay because you can still resonate with it. You just have to exchange your energies.
You're supposed to put a black light on it. He thought it was Uperlite, but somebody else said no.
See, look at that. That is awesome. Oh, but it looks like labradorite a little bit.
If you put a black light on it, it lights up.
Crazy.
Like the veins all light up.
Yeah, it looks like labradorite, and when you look at around the back, it's beautiful. That's beautiful. See, so you just have to, it's like rub the top of its head like a Buddha belly. You're meditating with it.
I don't know. Do you, I guess you would just let your eyes relax, like, you know, those posters and those images where you have to find the inside and then you dive into, like with the key in the amethyst piece, I just focused on the key and let myself relax, and boom, in I went.
See, I think it would be different with every piece, because these are supposed to actually, he says, if you do it right, you will actually bring a spirit to it, the spirit of the quartz, of the crystal, of the stone, whatever it is.
So that's what happened with that amethyst key.
See? So what'd you do with that?
It's behind me, near the dolls, near the girls.
Me. Still there.
Still with the girls.
See, I love that.
Crystals. I mean, and now that I have Lily, so Lily is my granddaughter, and she's 4. She calls me Queenie, which is the best. So she comes in, and there's lots of things in here that she's very drawn to, especially with the crystals. So the ones that I don't particularly like, the one with the key, I just kind of keep up from her. But she's drawn to all of it, even some of the skulls that I have.
Because children are magnets. Like they instinctively know. They're little natural little psychics. I've had to put a lot of things away for when my little guy comes to visit. And it's like, I used to have, I actually have a collection of real skulls, and one of them is like 600 something years old.
Wow.
And and they all came from different collections. Everything's documented. And again, things just come to me, and it's just you become a caretaker for a while. But there's just some stuff, like I have a taxidermy as well. I mean, I don't like that.
I do too, and I love it. Actually, that's on the.
I love
a 2-headed ducky.
See, but that's cute though.
Duck.
I've got, there's owls in here and hawks, and I have a penguin, a really nice big penguin.
Oh,
we have a peacock. You can probably see part of the tail.
Oh, nice.
Because my daughter's staying with us, and she's got cats that would I don't think they'd stand a chance. But this came out of the museum in Niagara Falls of oddities from the 1800s. It's very old. My mounts are very, very old. So, but I don't know. The skulls and stuff is kind of like, don't think like the 4-year-old should go, oh.
No. But she likes the duckies, and I've got them all sitting in teacups. So
I'll see.
Ducks are in the teacups.
But they're cute ducks, so it's not to love.
Yeah. It's a good introduction for her.
Yeah, see? You just got easy.
Spears attached as well too, right? Like the spears can be attached to anything, whether it's old or new, depending on how many hands and who's touched it.
Right. I agree. I mean,
same as the soil. I think that's the part that attracts me in collecting the soil or the stones. Is has that soil been moved from somewhere else, and did it shift from land shifts, or move with water? How many people have walked over it? There's so many different things that are attached to soil.
It can be pretty. Sorry, I'm just looking for something while we're talking. It can be pretty. I mean, you almost have to be turned on all the time. Just, it sounds wrong. Switched on all the time to see, if you are actually bringing something on or in. I mean, whether it's a piece of jewelry, whether it's a stone, you have to be really careful. You have to be able. Not everybody can clear.
No.
right?
No, but I feel if we have these kind of discussions,
Yeah.
if we're having these discussions, educating people as much as possible is important. Like the
Mhm.
more, because people are going to do it, the more there's great big signs saying don't take the rock, but they still take the rock.
It's true. It's true. I think people, there's no rhyme or reason for why people like to do things. It's just living dangerously, maybe. I don't know. But that was interesting. So, guys, if you still have a few questions or comments, feel free to put it up.
I agree, Diane. Everything does carry past energy.
Yes, absolutely. I believe, even if you walk into a room, like if you're having words with your significant other or your child or anybody at work, and you leave the room, it gets really heated, and you leave the
Oh
room, you
yeah.
come back a couple of hours later, you have to ask yourself if you're feeling foul, why that might be. You might want to think about getting into the habit of just cleansing your
Yeah.
space a little bit.
And it's interesting because I raised my kids that way, right? My kids had no problem saying to me, "Your energy feels off. You should do something about that, or you should leave the room and then come back when you're feeling better."
That's
Like,
right.
oh yeah, so they were used to it. But my daughter said, "I don't know if that was helpful or hurtful." She said because most people don't get that. She said so it's very frustrating to be outside of the house as an adult
Yes.
and interacting with people and seeing how many people are sleepwalking through life, right?
Yes,
And
yes, yes.
it helps them because they can trust their intuition when they're making decisions and feeling confident that way because they're
Mhm.
empowered within themselves. But she said it was an eye opener to
Oh,
see
yeah,
that
because,
people are not.
the real world is just like, "What are you talking about, you
Mhm.
weirdo?" They
Yeah.
don't understand.
Weirdos unite.
That's
Our time
right.
is now.
That's right. Watch out, people, here we come.
Yes. Wonder Twin powers activate.
Yes,
That
exactly.
time.
I love it. Alright.
Catherine, we should put can I put this up? Thank you, Catherine, for
Yeah,
the comment about
yeah.
my skull. And she's just sharing she has two small alien skulls. One is quartz and one is obsidian.
I have an obsidian, small alien skull as well. My sister got it for me for Christmas.
So are they elongated or
No,
it's
no, no,
like
they're just little, yeah, they're just
in the
little, like
shape of
like the
a
gray. Yes,
oh,
yes,
okay.
yes. Yes, so it's like, "Oh, thank you." Okay, next, I want to address this because, um, it has to be addressed. So
Oh, I
what go
forgot.
ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to call this up too because I
Yeah.
forgot all about that, Catherine. So she's just sharing
Oh,
because it's the new moon tonight, right?
it
So we have
is, it
that. It's
is.
time to manifest. Make sure you've got clear, cancel, and delete any negative thoughts. We're focusing on what you want to manifest, but placing all my crystals outside tonight under the moon and those 7 planets all lined up.
They are, it's a special time. Absolutely, do that.
Auspicious time.
All right. So remember that. Maybe we'll put a reminder again at the end of the show. Okay. So everybody who follows, ufology, we're switching gears a bit, knows the Betty and Barney Hill story. And Kathleen Martin, who is the niece of Betty and Barney Hill, has been their spokesperson. She's a contactee. She is just wonderful. She's written books. She's helped so many people. And I came across her post. I'm not going to put it up, but we get, close to like 3 million people a night who listen in, audio. And I wanted to bring awareness to this because it deserves it. And it makes me crazy that people take certain liberties. Now, many people have heard of Dr. Stephen Greer. He does a lot of the CE5s. He basically has done films, and I mean, he's taken a lot of chances as well with whistleblowing about experiences and so on and so forth. But I don't feel that, you know, anybody in that position would have the right. So this is her post, and it's her public post. So I'm going to read part of it. I don't want to just, you know, blabber off all her private information here, but she said he did a recent podcast. The gist of it is he did a recent podcast and claimed that the Betty and Barney Hill abduction was a staged man-made abduction having nothing to do with aliens. I'm like, what? So anyway, now there are theories that surround that. And I'm just saying theories because I would love to have Kathleen come on and talk about it. But so many people have discuss this case. They believe that they started off with an alien abduction when they were on the Canadian side of the border, and when they got to the American side of the border, that they may have been grabbed by the military to say, hey, which is not uncommon, apparently, according to Joe Montaldo, who does this thing on a regular basis with his research, that if USAF want to know, what did you guys experience? We want to know what you experience. So they do their own, sort of examinations and so on. So to say that it was a man-made abduction having nothing to do with aliens, and he also claimed that not many know this fact. Well, why would he be one of the few that wouldn't know the fact? So she makes a really good point. And was he perhaps misled by a whistleblower type person? So, if you guys have Kathleen on your Facebook, I definitely go look at her posts. But, she's looking and questioning to him about the technology of the USAF in 1961. What could the crafts back then do? It just contradicts a lot of the stuff that was said. I guess, Kathy is her family. She grew up listening to these stories, right? And she's got a whole list of things here of questions. Like where, for example, here's one. Where did they obtain the telepathic, hairless, non-human, large-chested people of short stature with large craniums and very thin arms and legs who conducted intrusive examination on the hills? I don't think that sounds human to me, So I just want to address this because sometimes
does he say where his information came from or why he has that theory?
She has a link on her site that basically and I can't just copy and paste it from here, unfortunately. Yeah, maybe I can try to copy and paste it later for people to watch it anyway, because she says listen to his interview. So I don't know that he gives his source, but he publicly puts it out there. So should that be allowed?
Well, it's attention seeking, for sure.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a guy who's you're trying to build respect for yourself.
Well, so that's an interesting thing because respect has been a major topic in my world. Discussions about building your reputation, building your reputation, and how you're doing that. Where's your moral compass, and what is your intention and agenda with the information that you share with?
Right.
So.
Yeah, right there.
Is it for him to benefit or somebody else? It's mind-blowing that even, he's wrong to do that.
Yeah. I think if you can't do something on your own merit, like come forward with your own information, nothing is ever going to be 100%. If you don't experience it yourself, it makes it really difficult. I've heard people say, well, things are hearsay. Well, a lot of abductees and contactees, it's hearsay. And they're not there with them. A lot of times you can vividly remember them. Other times you have to go under hypnosis for it. You can't just say unequivocally yes or no. But this is a really famous case that happened in 1961. And
that has been pulled apart.
Oh,
repeated and repeated and repeated and repeatedly pulled apart.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So to have somebody come out now and just say, "Oh, hey, this is a thing," I don't know. It's just there's a lot of symbols and stuff that they have both drawn together, And some people argue, well, you could have done it from this craft the same as you could have done it in a military craft. Like, I suppose so. But I don't think it's right, that somebody just comes out and says it was false. I mean, unless you can back that up, you cannot just say, hey.
And be able to say how with you, like,
how did you obtain the information? I mean, maybe the interviewee does, but I don't think so. By the sounds of it, from what she basically says was, not many people know this fact. And her point is, why would he be one of the few to have access to this guarded information? And she's 100% correct. 100% correct. So I wanted to address that because I think there's just too much stuff that gets put out there on many different levels, not just this one, but on many different levels. And I think what people fail to remember is that sometimes there are still family members involved. Like I'll go back to hauntings real briefly. People go in and say, oh, this person died here and they haunt the place and blah, blah, blah. These guys still have family that still exists today. You just don't go do that.
Yeah.
Unless a family comes to you and says, hey, can you talk about this? It's my great grandmother that haunts this place and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot different when the family is involved. But to come out and just try to either profit for it or gain be attention seeking on information, whether it's correct or incorrect.
Well,
the right thing to have done would have been to contact Miss Martin and said, hey, I've got this information. What are your thoughts? Why does everybody have to just go and blabber off without even really giving attention to the family? Kathleen's researched this like her entire life.
Well, and it's more than just an oral story. It's, can I put Michelle's?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Same. Okay, go ahead.
Michelle's just sharing. It would be interesting if he only said something contradicting in order to put a spotlight on the story again.
To my knowledge, it's never been out of the spotlight because
I don't think so either,
recently, really. I think Symbols just came out and they were talking about symbolism and things like that they had seen inside, that they had sketched the same symbols. And I mean, I would like to think that, but again, I go back to my point of would the right thing to do would have been to maybe contact Kathleen Martin and said, hey, I want to do this.
There's lots of people who just barge ahead and go, I can just ask for forgiveness later.
Yeah.
So they're still getting what they want out of it, which is a selfish way of moving forward, right? And again, how does that affect who will want to have contact or support him later? As far as reputation, right?
Right. And I'm not trying to bury the man by any means. I mean, he put himself out there and, maybe he has his reasons to do what he wants to do or had to do. But for me, it's just there's a right way and a wrong way and a very small gray area in the middle. I think in that sort of case, you have to remember that there's still family involved. And Kathleen is very active in the field and she's very well respected. And in many cases, more respected than Mr. Greer. Well, and I don't mean a facetious. She's just been around a lot longer.
Yeah. But it sounds in the way that she's responding back, she's asking, again, in a respectful way. So let's have this discussion then.
Yes.
Let's have a discussion. And whoever was hosting that could have had that opportunity to have her there at the same time and have a roundtable discussion, which, maybe that would have been the better way of approaching it as well, too. Knowing that you have this hot topic that's going to push buttons, have a balanced conversation and having somebody else on with more to contribute to it, right?
Yes, I completely agree. And I feel that, being that she is the primary research. I mean, like I said, they picked it to bits, just like the Travis Walton case. Everybody's picked it to bits because it's just so well known. But with that being said, if new information comes up where you take a look at this is this and this is how I know, I would think that going to not just a family member, but to the person who has spent her entire life, researching this and putting the word out and looking at everything and working to help so many people, I would think the right thing to have done would be to say, look, this is what I heard. What are your thoughts? Can we explore this? I'd like to talk about this on the show. Do you have any considerations? Is there something you'd like mentioned and blah, 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 blah. But it just doesn't seem to be, So anyway, got that out.
Even as a host, knowing that you've got this, it's going to be a controversial, having another person on or asking those questions and not having heard it. So maybe the person did. Maybe the interviewer did ask those questions. I don't know because I didn't.
Yes.
So we don't really know what the whole context is.
It's out there on YouTube, and I can definitely see if I can post it. I often don't. I mean, if she's going to run into a little bit of an issue with with this information, I don't want to cause more of an issue, but it's not what I want to do. She, this case, these Betty and Barney Hill, I mean, it's a well-known case and people really believe in it. They respect it because of the fact that of the time you have a biracial couple, who people were already kind of like, back 1961, sadly, but they came forward and risked so much, putting themselves in the limelight to start with. And this is one of the things that they've spoke about in many of the documentaries, like, they like the quiet couple living a normal, happy life. And, don't just put yourself out in the public like that, taking a chance that you're going to be ridiculed. Because back in the day, you didn't talk about stuff like that. It's just, I mean, come on, So I don't know.
Claudette is just sharing. Yes, they have evidence on the dress and etc.
They do. They've got quite a few things, marks on the back of the trunk of the car, and there's all kinds of things. You can't just shrug it off. Go ahead. You want to put anything up while we're still on it? Yeah, feel free.
Michelle's there's lots of Michelle's today. Michelle is sharing, there's a well-known photo of a UFO in McMinnville, Oregon, always under scrutiny.
Yes. I think that's just it. I think that when you're dealing in anything deemed high strangeness out there, you are going to find that in one form or another, it's going to be under scrutiny. You're going to have the naysayers. You're going to have those who are so pro the other way. It's hard to find, the balance between everything. But okay, next, while we're on the topic of all of this, let's go for broke. Why not? Okay, I know. Okay, so the next one is okay. Let's put this one up. Now, this one here has been, I'll put the article up. 1 second. Bam, 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 bam. Okay. So this is, Vatican is to publish a new document on the Marian, so of apparitions. So this is of the Virgin apparitions, I guess. And this was May 7th, 2024. So it's fairly recent. The Vatican Doctrine Office will publish a new document next week. I don't even know if they did. I've not been able to find it. Discerning Marian apparitions and other supernatural events. They're going to unveil new norms for discernment regarding apparitions and other supernatural phenomenon. And this was an interview with the National Catholic Register. So they're the ones who are getting credit for this article that I'm sharing right now. So the new norms will be the first time that the Vatican's doctrinal office has issued a general document on apparitions in 4 decades. So Pope Paul VI approved this on the discernment of presumed apparitions and revelations in 1978. Now, where it gets weird with this is that I remember doing an interview where they spoke about this, and some people believe that they were mimics.
Oh.
Right. I know. So you have the faithful who are just like, no, no, you know, and then you have researchers. These are hardcore paranormal researchers who are just like, no, this is it, and this is it, and this is all the reasons they give for it. And by the time the interview was done, it was Brian Allen and Barry Fitzgerald. You guys could probably find it on our Facebook page or on our YouTube page. And by the time it was done, I was just sitting there going, you might have something there. Just,
About them being mimics?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. But you see what I'm saying? This one extreme to the next, you have to find that happy medium. So there must be or have been enough sightings for them to do this. So essentially, throughout the ages, there have been so called private revelations, some of which have been recognized by the authority of the church. They do not belong, however, to the deposit of faith, whatever that means. So it is not their role to improve or complete Christ's definitive revelation, but to help live more fully in a certain period of history, guided by the magisterium of the church. The sensus fidelium knows how to discern and welcome in these revelations whatever constitutes an authentic call of Christ or his saints to the church. So, thoughts, everybody? Chime in. Right?
Yeah, so Claudette starts with one right off the hop too.
Okay.
Hard to believe of what they say after all the lies. So again, reputation, right?
Yes.
What
Exactly.
reputation have you created for yourself? And now you're asking us to forget
believe.
that, and to believe this part.
That's a tough one. Like there's the Vatican holds a lot of knowledge and secrets, in the Vatican archives, and I'm sure there are miles of sightings of different saints and some that they acknowledge, some that they don't. So many supernatural events, and that's a whole other show that you could really delve into pretty hardcore to determine.
It would have to be multiple shows.
Yes.
2 hours wouldn't do it.
No, I agree with you. So that's, level high strangeness in the news in a big way. So,
well, and shifting, because then it calls into play belief as well too, right? Not just so high strangeness and belief. And this is something that I'm going to pull the aliens into this all at the same time. In preparing for the show tomorrow with Lily Nova, really, it's the first time that I had this little click that looking at those experiences, contactee experiences or similar, as a spiritual awakening, as a spiritual connection. I've always kind of tucked it over here. There's the spiritual stuff, and then there's that, and not seeing it as a spiritual experience as well, right? So,
well, yes, I think that's probably a really good way to look at it, because they mix.
It does mix.
They cross.
And so their high strangeness, what is high strangeness that they've, what is it that it said May 17th, did it not, that they were going to release it? So would it not already be released for us to find?
Well, 40 years ago. I guess they're revamping it. I don't know. I don't know. It makes it hard. Claudette makes a good point here, where she says the Vatican does believe in aliens because they want to baptize. I know that the Vatican talked about preparing the flock, as they call it, for the possibility of having contact with extraterrestrial and alien races. Right. So preparing them that yes, this is a thing. Now, I remember when I was doing research for the Gray Zone Uncensored, the show that Joe and I did, which was strictly informational. We didn't have guests or anything like that. It was just 2 hours of straight information. And I found in some of that research that the Vatican actually had an alien skull. So they're well aware
Fascinating.
that they exist. I tend to remember if it ends up being on a need to know basis, we just don't need to know. Kind of wondering about that, you know.
So what, they don't really say what they feel though. Did they say what they feel the sightings are? There's a list of them?
Yeah, I mean, through the years and different supernatural events, such as having experiences, rivers turning red, for example, with blood, locusts,
Statues bleeding and
miracles, right? Bleeding statues, bleeding from the eyes, or crying statues, or supernatural events with a religious tone or undertone, is what I'm guessing. Not just the Marian events or the sightings. It's very difficult. Some of, in the interview that I did with, that we did regarding some of this with Barry and Brian, was a long, yes, Sigmatas as well. Yeah. They used Annalise Michel as an example, right? Emily Rose, if you guys remember the movie, Annalise Michel, where the Virgin Mary, she appeared to her and asked her if she had had enough and so on. And she said no, like she was just going to play it through. They use this as an example. They're just like, was it a miracle or was it this entity just playing with her? Like, there's a real fine line. I'm sure there's mimics in there somewhere.
Have you had an experience with Mother Mary? And it's interesting because I have twice.
Yeah.
And when I talked about it, again with the religion, that it ends up coming up, but somebody said to me that I didn't have permission to use that term because I wasn't Catholic, which was a whole other thing.
Right.
I needed to connect him to the person that said I was cursed 10 generations back. But he said, he just felt that it couldn't have been Mother Mary. But I've experienced lower negative things and Mother Mary. And with Mother Mary, I cried because it was the most unconditional love that I have felt energetically.
Right.
And it did smell like jasmine. It smelled like jasmine flowers.
Yeah. See, I get people who say they smell roses as well. Yes. So I guess it's similar. Yes.
It's the smell. Yes. And it was just unconditional. And I was very much in need in that moment of protection. So when people talk about needing protection, I've always called on her more than Archangel Michael, because I just see her as who else is going to be like the biggest mother bear protector ever.
Right.
So exactly. I call on her first before I call on Archangel Michael.
Yes. Yes. No, but you know what? Even through remote viewing, like when we help people, when Amelia and I work, Virgin Mary is very present. Whenever you're rescuing children, she's the one that comes for them.
Always.
Right?
That's how I've seen it as well.
Yeah, see? So I guess the point I'm trying to explore here is anything has a mimic. A mimic can mimic anything, I think you do have your true sightings and your true experiences. But it's almost like Christ Antichrist.
So does it come back
which is real, which one's not real,
Does it come back down to teaching people to understand how they connect and their discernment? The more we educate people, the more that they educate themselves, take personal accountability and personal healing, they can discern for themselves what feels
right. What feels
not
Yeah.
a higher vibration and what is, and sometimes the lower vibrating things too, or things that look scary aren't necessarily scary.
100%. I agree with you 100% on that one, especially for sure. Here's a comment. Can you get that? Hey, Mike.
Mike, thanks for being here. Mike is saying, I found that the most prominent information is found ground level within actual experiencers themselves.
Yeah.
Anything else seems to have an alternate agenda to push. Agreed.
Well said.
Very
Well
well
said.
said.
Yes, exactly. Question for you. Your sighting. Was Mary solid?
You mean, yes, to me, she appeared solid. I didn't see through her.
Right. Okay.
And
Hey,
I was in the
Z-Spoon.
hospital at the time.
Oh, see, there you go.
Mm.
That's been a lot of sightings.
Yeah. Hi, Kevin. Season Dragon is saying you will know if it's real by how you feel. I agree, Kerrilynn. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. See, there's just so much. Like, I think there are experiences on so many different levels that there are going to be things that are going to come in and try to sway you from your faith. I'm a spiritual person. I always say I'm more of a Gnostic than anything else, but but then again, I got a little bit of pagan and druid in me too. I think I just kind of teeter about, right? Like, I just love earthy
There's
things.
beauty in all of it.
Yes.
There's
Yes.
beauty in all of the religions.
Yes.
There's beauty in all of it. There's aspects of it that are beautiful.
Anything that's positive is to me beneficial. And I think people who are very faithful in their beliefs will always be a target to things that try to sway you from those beliefs. And you have to look at all aspects. And that's coming from somebody who has worked in the film industry for 20 years, almost being labeled. Everything's a demon, damn it. That's the way it goes. No. Most people who know me know I'm quite logical. I'll come out with a lot of the logical stuff first, and not that it's not there, but I have more faith in people, than they have in themselves in times like that.
Yes. And I feel those of us working with the right agenda and intention, we tend to go to the left brain first before we go to the woo-woo stuff.
Yes.
We tend to go, let's check these things out first, and now we're going to do these other things, right? She is awesome. I agree, Claudette. She is awesome.
Thanks. I love helping people, and I think that's what it comes down to. Whatever the case may be, something is leading people to believe certain things, and it's up to me, spending 2 decades in this field, to try to help them figure out what it is with the most respect and dignity possible. Yes. I don't ever want somebody feeling bad. I want somebody to feel support. I want them to feel love. I want them to feel that they're not alone. I want them to feel like it's okay just to let somebody else carry the weight for a little while, so they can relax and just get their bearings and just breathe. At the end of the day, that's what it all comes down to. Hello, Tamara. When you are sensitive, you are the light in the swamp, so this creates paranormal experiences. 100%.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay.
Why the kids get so much that happen to them, right? Like, children,
they're natural
just beacons.
They are. They're like little psychics, I remember my grandson looking at me one time. I was visiting. He kept looking behind me, and I'm like, "What? Do I have friends? What?"
Yes.
And then I realized that there was a human spirit there. There was a male that had just come in from somewhere, and like right there, and I tend to, where I should have maybe been a bit more compassionate, the instinct to protect my grandson, who at the time was 2. I'm just like, might have got a little aggressive and saying, if you don't leave, you're going to go out in ways that you never recover from in a spiritual manner.
Yeah.
And then that was like a pretty quick exit point, but then after that, I got my wits about me. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
But he had left. But they see everything. They just sort of,
They
it's like,
do.
oh, okay. Yeah,
They
that's
do. And that's like, um, all of my kids had experiences as well too. And when I call it, when I came out of the witchy boo closet, when I stopped doing hair and doing this full time, which is like 17 years ago, it was focused on helping parents with kids that were intuitive and having experiences. And it's still my favorite place to work from.
right. I think that's lovely, though. I think it's lovely. I think I've always enjoyed working with children.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just see things, it's just so pure. Their
Yeah.
questions are so honest and non-judgmental.
Yeah. And they get to feel empowered from a very young age. So they're not giving their control away by allowing other people's opinions to be bigger than theirs, that
Right.
they can sit with that
Right.
and be confident. So I think that's
Right.
important.
So, what's your advice then? Because I've given my advice on the show a million times. So, it's nice to get somebody else's perspective. What's your advice to people who have small children who see spirits? Because I always try to deter people from like, don't make them feel silly for seeing something, because if something negative really does come in, they won't trust you to tell you, and they could easily get taken advantage of.
Mhm. The first thing that I always say is that those little people have that experience because they're your children and they're there to help you remember that you can do this too.
Oh,
So they are your teachers in this, they are not your students. So
yeah,
getting in touch with those aspects of who you are because they came from you. And
right.
then, you know, cultivating that our home should be our sanctuary when we're extra sensitive, because as soon as you step out the door, we're
You're
slammed with
vulnerable.
all of that stuff. So making home the safe place
Right,
for sure.
right. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that. Um, Tamara, you need to make the paranormal normal for children and how to control their space. Example, making monster spray for them and
Yeah.
prayers,
So
whatever. Yeah.
I still, uh, yes, finding your own. So spiritual parenting was the course that I started off with. And I mean, 2020 changed a lot of things for us. So, I mean, I haven't done it in a while, but finding your spirit speak as well to your own spirit language.
Mm.
If the kids were picking up something that was energetic for them and we were out somewhere, that they had a code word, just like they would if a stranger, like, or a family member, somebody different was picking them up after school, they had a code word. So we had a spiritual code word, finding a way to support one another, check-ins.
That's a great idea, though, the code word.
It is. And we still do. Well, now it's just after a while it's like a look, like you have with any, you toss a
Yes.
look and they know the mom look.
Yes.
And they'd have a look as well too. I just feel there's a really great book. I'm a big believer of books and
Me too.
readings. So
Yeah.
it's called Child of Mine Know This by Rebecca White Cotton at brighttreasures.net. And it's a fabulous book. And it talks about how our souls have made these agreements over many different generations and lifetimes. And we forget our agreements, right? So sometimes we're a grandma, sometimes we're the kids, and we're here to help each other remember.
Right.
So,
And the kids remember it all for the most part.
they do until they have
Right.
to fit
Yeah.
in, until they
That's
have
right.
to fit in. And
Puberty,
then,
usually. Yeah.
yeah.
Right. Yeah. Those
Well,
emotional changes.
yeah, but they try to fit in even at age 6. They see where people are different, right? Like by
Yes.
grade 1, you start to see some of it change. Some of it comes
Yes.
back and hits
Yes.
hard in puberty, but
Right.
little kids
Right.
don't know to lie. That comes later. Like,
Right.
so
Well, it's just like, my
they're
mother.
speaking their truth.
Don't talk about things like that.
Oh
Think
yeah,
we're
I got
weirdos.
that too.
But we are. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, things like that makes it hard because children are hindered from being able to speak out,
Mm-hmm.
And
Even adult children. So I
yeah, oh,
have
yes.
that
Yes.
adult
Yes.
children are also hindered. And again, belief systems, but And
Right.
I think the
Right.
more that we can teach people and educate them, the better. So, and then
I think it's
the
the right
naysayers
time.
always come around because the naysayers end up needing our help.
It's true. You're not wrong.
I know I'm not. With loving compassion, I do it. But I know that, yeah, it eventually comes back around.
That's funny. Honestly, no, it's true. No, Claudette, we are all pretty much both my sisters have their own abilities. I'm probably spiked a little higher, but I think it's only because I've
Built the muscle.
I'm made to use it too
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Right. So not that they don't. I have a sister who's like amazing in premonition, like crazy amazing in premonition. And I have another one who's just the same, and she just can connect in different ways. I'm just the one that went full throttle and chose to work the malevolent side of things, or working more with energy. And I enjoy light work. I love doing planetary work. It's one of my most favorite things. And it's a lot of stuff that people aren't aware of what I do, because they've always seen me on television doing malevolent things and working with people on that level. But, I work with people where we just totally work earth energy and consciousness and things like that.
And that's true. I think there's so much that we do behind the scenes, and we shouldn't need to share in order to validate what it is that we're doing.
Yes. But part's what I call the fun. That's the fun part of everything, like when I quit filming, and decided to do radio when it came up, I just thought I love to do it for the one reason. Okay, two. I love meeting new people.
Yeah.
Hence everybody in chat, guests, hosts, but I love learning. And every time someone comes on, I learn something from them.
Yes. This last year, it's been a year, it was a year in April since we started Spirit Switchboard, which I'm so grateful to you and Joe for bringing me into.
Oh, we love you.
Work. But I've learned so much. And then, I have like Michelle, who's in chat, this lovely group of people that were sort of in my circle already, and now also have networked and grown from the guests that I've had on as well too. And it's been a wonderful journey with wonderful people.
It is. And it's one that you just never know where it's going to go. I love learning new things. And and I think it wakes you up a little bit. Like for me,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
For me as a child, having all these experiences and then talking to guests, about who are contactees and experiencers, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, going, "Wait a minute, what? It's familiar." It's like shit. I think I've had alien experience, but I'm a little nerved at first. But then I started realizing, no, this is part of my whole life. I just didn't see it because the connection between the paranormal and ufology and extraterrestrials are so intertwined that you can't always separate them. They're just so.
That's kind of where my growth has been this year too. And I'm now it's more, I feel like Jack Skellington currently. Ooh, what's this?
Right.
Okay, I'm good now. Let's bring it
on. Right. See?
I can feel there's a big movement forward with that aspect of things as far as, yes, I'm looking forward to
our talking about this, Kerrilynn, 10 months ago.
Yeah.
And tonight, two entirely different conversations.
I know. Because I was like, Spotty, I've been crying 10 months ago.
From crying to going, I'm all right. That's how it was for me, just being really leery. And then meeting and making friends with people who are just like, no, I do this. It's okay. You're fine. It's all good. Because, two of my other dear friends are Preston Dennett and Dolly Saffron, right? And Preston writes nothing but positive books about extraterrestrials and people having experiences, and and Dolly's whole story is phenomenal. And I'll tell you, I relaxed so much I got to the point where when I know one would come near me and I'm going, oh, I don't want to do is sleep. I'm so exhausted. Now I'm not on edge. I'm just like, let me fall asleep. Then I don't care. I have a headache. I don't want to. just,
Yeah.
just, just make me feel like I had a good night's sleep. Then I don't care once I'm asleep. But then I go under like this. And I kind of go, all right, that's how it's going to be. But I'm okay with it.
Yes.
Right?
I feel it's all about surrender. And it is with a high strange as it is with the mediumship. It's about surrendering into this and yeah, I'm in the surrender place and a lot of stuff has shifted in a very positive way for me with that.
Yes. And I love that. And I'm so grateful because I knew darn well that you would be amazing at this. That's why I said, Kerrilynn,
Thanks.
you need to do this. And you're like, oh, well, no, you have to. And
It took me a while to relax, though.
Yes.
I'm much better now.
You are very welcome from my gift of Kerrilynn to you. I know, I love it.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad Michelle's saying that she spends her Friday night, so I appreciate it. And Michelle has just been Michelle Plummer has been an amazing friend that I have met through all of this work and supports me in all of the events that I do, and I'm just so grateful. I'm grateful for that friendship.
See, this is part of it. You just meet so many incredible people, and I love it. And I believe people of like mind always come together, which is nice.
I agree. Yes. So yes, Claudette, I was born with this gift, and what I discovered later is it was the dad side, actually. So my great grandfather used to read tea leaves and do all that kind of stuff. Right. He was German, actually. He was a German farmer. So not the Scottish grandma.
Yeah, little hidden gems. Yeah. So I love it. I love it. Okay, should we move on a little bit before I guess I'm supposed to do anything?
I was going to say station ID sometime soon too, right?
Yeah, I knew. I usually around the time we start off about quarter after with technically the guests. So anyway, for all of you guys tuning in, we are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network, UFO Paranormal Radio Network 105.3 and 107.7 FM. We are fully sponsored by the amazing people over at Folgers who have been with us since day one. Thank you, Folgers. We love and appreciate you so much. Big thank you to Justice Snicker, aka Dr. Snick, the Sonic Surgeon, for our amazing intro and outro, which we don't get to play as often. Big thank you to Steve McGinnis for all of the artwork behind all of our banners, etc. here at the show. We appreciate you so much. Thank you. Tonight, I am joined by my dear friend, Kerrilynn Shellhorn, who is our guest host for tonight's show, and it is open mic. So we are just talking about everything, anything, and it's been a lot of fun. And you guys just make it that much more fun. So thank you. Wayne, retail the thing outside the accepted norm. Well, wouldn't we all?
Yeah.
It's like, thank you, Tamara. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you. Don't forget to comment. Oh my goodness. Yes. Thank you. So the voice from beyond the accepted norm. You should get a few groceries. How do you know it's not the aliens asking you for that? Never know.
I wish the spirits would just turn the coffee on for me too, because I don't have one that has a preset timer, so I just have to get up and flick the button, which sounds so awful.
Schedule for that makes it hard. There's a question for you. Oops, there we go. This one.
Yes. So all of my kiddos have abilities. Definitely a lot when they were small. A little less now as adults. my youngest kiddo the most like incredible things that he saw and experienced, which educated me too at the time and really pushed me to accept and step into, because if I was stepping into it, I understood how to create a safe space for them, right? Don't let them mess with the coffee maker. Oh,
The kids are the spirits. I could be hit and miss right there. It could be any.
yeah.
I'm just putting up another article here. 1 second.
Okay.
Okay. So moving on, since we're getting up there, they in Antarctica, they have just found fossils of small humanoids. Humans, little humans. Okay, so here it is. Right there. And they're definitely saying these are humans. They are definitely human and not a species of primate. This is in Antarctica, and they found them just up in and around the map, in and around here. There we go. West Antarctica. So what do we make of that?
Fossilized skeleton remains.
I know, right? The rocky terrain, Whitmore Mountain Range in Antarctica, they have been found fossilized skeletal remains of which seems to be extremely small humans. Discovery was made while this was the investigative person who wrote this article. So they are said to be 600 million years ago. There were no human beings in the world, and there wouldn't be any for nearly 560 million years after that.
Dinosaurs.
No dinosaurs. First skeleton we found was hidden within the layers of a large piece of sedimentary rock that we had broken loose from the mountainside. So this was in the mountains. We knew that it would most likely contain some fossils because of the type and the age. When we split the rock apart, we were completely confused. Here was this fossil from an age when the appearance of the first vertebrae was still millions of years off, and it was a complete skeleton. And not only that, it appeared to be human. So this credits the Deschines News Post. There we go. That's who we credit this article with. So humanoids, it's one of these things that to me defies what is. 600 million years ago, when there were not dinosaurs, when there was pretty much nothing. So I think we're starting to see that Antarctica definitely had a lot going on long before the Ice Age, or long before it became covered with ice. You know, they say pyramids, there's all kinds of things. They found a freshwater lake underneath.
So yes.
Right?
And that.
I know. So I don't know. Fairies. I don't know. I'm down for fairies, but I don't think they had little wings. So I don't know.
Can't fairies have different subcultures within too?
I would think so. Yeah, why not? The little ins. Oh, Wayne. But yes, they were very little. That's for sure. So I don't know. That kind of popped up in the news, and
I find it fascinating that we go from giants to little humanoids.
Oh, I know, right? I mean, and we think of Antarctica as this really brutal, inhumane location, you know, hard to survive in, but it wasn't always like that. So it's just, they haven't been named or known, she says. I think they're smaller than that. They're only about this big.
So that, was it a nickel or something that was
it was a penny. Let me put it back up. Let me put it back up for everybody to see. Hold on. Me being all hasty. Okay. So here we are. So let me get back to the picture. There we are. skeleton they found was less than a foot tall. So that is a penny. And this is a beautiful specimen, really. You know, I can't make it any bigger, unfortunately. So I don't know. I wonder if I can click on it. No, I can't even click on it to make it bigger. It won't let me.
It looks like the Cornish pixies from Harry Potter.
Really?
I made Brooklyn a whole lantern full of them.
I have a collection. It's obvious from our study that these skeletons, that they are definitely human, not a species of primate. Who they were and how large their population was, and if they were technologically advanced, is a complete mystery. The fossils have been flown to the National Institute of Ancient Studies in Washington, D.C. for further analysis.
Oh, they're going to go missing now.
If it would have said Smithsonian, I would have said, for sure. But yeah, I bet you. Because, well, I mean, it's out there now. At least we know there's some kind of a record. The National Reporter would also like to stress that our readers that these tiny fossilized humanoid skeletons are not the remains of extraterrestrial aliens, as we expect the tabloids will be reporting when the news breaks.
Interesting that they added that into this article, right? Like,
I think they just wanted to be clear on the fact that this is an ancient race of people who existed here during this time. And I think it's fascinating because there's just so many. How many have we not seen? Like, we were talking about this when we first started the show. How many things will technology uncover? How many things will the Earth give up? The planet, what will it give up?
Yeah, because inevitably it will show up in other places to connect it. You know, like it won't just be in Antarctica. They'll be finding it in other places too.
Yeah, I think so. And Wayne makes a good point. Once upon a time, it was a tropical climate. It was. I love it. I don't know.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Catherine's, when you spoke, they would go missing. I was typing those words.
Oh.
We're Vulcan mind melding, you and I.
Okay, we'll put up another one because we're going from one extreme to the next. But as we...
Wayne's in the mood.
Yeah, Mr. Comedian. Okay, well, here we go. From one extreme to the next. Giant pharaohs unearthed. Mummies discovered by Howard Carter during the 1920s Egyptian tomb excavation. Well, we know he was responsible for discovering King Tutankhamun. And this was June the 2nd, 2024. So this is high strangeness in the news, as I say. And this apparently is what they found. I always go to, AI, right? I question everything.
Well, I was going to ask, is that an AI?
I know, right? I'm not overly familiar with the UK freshnews96.com, so giving them credit. So in the early 20s, amid the golden sands of the Valley of the Kings, a discovery by renowned archaeologist Howard Carter captured the world's imagination. This was no ordinary find. Carter and his team unearthed mummies of colossal proportions, believed to be the fabled giant pharaohs of ancient Egypt. The excavation, steeped in mystery and intrigue, offered unprecedented insights into a forgotten chapter of Egyptian history. And it begins in 1922. Already famous for his discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb, so this happened afterwards, was drawn back to the Valley of the Kings by persistent rumors of another untouched burial site, sponsored by the wealthy patron Lord Carnarvon. Carter embarked on what would become one of the most sensational archaeological expeditions of the 20th century, only we didn't hear about it, which is interesting to me. After months of meticulous digging, Carter's team uncovered a hidden entrance beneath a collapsed section of the valley. This entrance led to a series of underground chambers remarkably preserved and adorned with hieroglyphs. The inscription spoke of pharaohs with extraordinary stature, rulers who were revered not just for their power, but also for their immense size. This discovery sparked both excitement and skepticism within the archaeological community. After months, who did that? The initial chamber revealed the giant mummies standing at over 9 feet tall. The mummy was a sight to behold, its bandages still slightly wound, and its features remarkably preserved. Carter, realizing the significance of the find, named his mummy Pharaoh Nebmat, a ruler previously unknown to historians. Further explanation or exploration of the chambers revealed more giant mummies, each adorned with intricate jewelry and surrounded by treasures, beholding their royal status. These mummies, unlike those previously discovered, presented a unique challenge for Carter and his team. Their enormous size required special handling and preservation techniques. Carter enlisted the help of experts from around the world to ensure the mummies were carefully documented and preserved. The process revealed fascinating details. The mummification techniques used were more advanced than those seen in other Egyptian burials, suggesting a distinct and highly developed funerary practice. Artifacts found alongside the mummies were equally astonishing. Massive sarcophagi, oversized weapons, and enormous thrones were among the items excavated. Each artifact was intricately decorated, depicting scenes of the giant pharaohs in battle, their victories immortalized in gold and stone. The relics provided a glimpse into the lives of these colossal rulers, their reign shrouded in both grandeur and enigma. So the challenge existing narrative. Scholars have long debated the existence of such rulers, and some dismissing them as myth. However, his findings offered concrete evidence that these giants were real and held significant power in Egypt. So why have we not heard about this?
Well, this is it. And how did this come out now? Who, if they were so large, like, where were they kept? How were they kept hidden? Where are they now? Are they no longer?
Well, they're not really saying where they've ended up. They're just saying that there was an untouched tomb, which is something else in the Valley of the Kings because everything got sacked. The hieroglyphs and inscriptions within the tombs told stories of their divine lineage, suggesting they were considered demigods by their subjects.
That's
not 9 feet.
It's that's a huge discovery and story. I'm having a hard time understanding how it could be kept quiet for so long.
Well, I mean, if we look at the Smithsonian, who had all kinds of bones of giants and just chucked them into the ocean, I mean, obviously this is not something that they wanted to see get released. The fact that they were found, have they been preserved? I mean, my guess is they're sitting at the Cairo Museum. There's so many artifacts in the basement of the Cairo Museum. I've been to the Cairo Museum, the old one, and it's massive. Now that they have another one, besides that, I mean, there's even more things to bring in. They're finding things all the time because of technology that we've spoken about. But again, it's just like these look bigger than 9 feet tall. I'm just saying this is where I have a problem.
More than 9 feet tall.
Yeah, this is where I have a problem. Because these guys are, well, this guy looks like one of those crazy death kings from Lord of the Rings. But, these guys look like they're 15 feet, 20. Like there's I mean, look how small these guys are. So again, I would personally see, this looks a little closer, like 9 feet. This guy might be 6 feet. 12. I don't know. I just feel, I'd like to research it further.
Yes.
I only came across this about an hour before the show and wanted to include it.
But definitely something to discuss, right? Because we do know that there were bones discovered that have gone missing, and they were photographed, right?
Yeah, apparently. But here's a good point. So
Wayne is just sharing, I find the images to be odd in that they all seem to be in a seated position. I would think time and gravity would have had them collapse onto themselves.
Yes, exactly. Were they wrapped like other Egyptian burials? No, apparently
it doesn't look like it.
No,
and it doesn't sound like it either, which is weird.
But yet they talk about having huge sarcophagi and with a more advanced burial technique. So again, I don't know.
So were there jars? Because weren't there like
canopic jars and stuff?
Yes.
I mean, to me, it just all seems I mean, okay, this could be a camera angle as well. Like they could just be closer to this guy and these guys could be in the background. I get you can do things with angles, but this is where, I tend to want to research it more because it just seems
well, and if it was
a bit out
some
there.
kind of scholarly article,
Yeah.
wouldn't they put their sources at the bottom?
Let's see.
Nope.
Comments have been disabled for this post. I'm thinking it got ugly, people. I'm thinking it got ugly somewhere along the lines, and that's that. So, yeah. So I don't know, but I just thought this. I on Q&A night, open mic night, I like to throw things at this was in the news. What do y'all think about it?
Yes.
I think further investigation, not only for that. But apparently, Howard Carter and Lord Carnarvon, pretty sure that they ended up, I don't know how long before they passed away after they discovered Tutankhamun. Like they got sick pretty quick.
Yeah.
I think. So, this went on after that find and they went on months of a dig. I'd be sort of like, see, right there. This is something that's a bit out there. But anyway, all right. So last but not least, one of my personal favorites. And again, it's going to be one of those stories, but let's just have some fun with it. Go out with a bang. Why not? It's a personal favorite of mine because I love dragons. It's that simple. So, okay. This goes to Headline Daily News for the credit. Unearthed Dragon Fossil amazes archaeologists. This is recently in China. This is articles from January the 9th. And these dragon fossils were exhibited at the Xinwei Ancient Living Fossil Museum in China. Okay, I can't pronounce that. I won't even try. When archaeologists initially removed the clay from the fossil, they discovered that the dragon had a pair of horns on its head, and the shape of the dragon closely resembled that of a legendary creature often remembered in novels. There it is. So dragons have also appeared in Chinese legends. The dragon with two horns on his head is considered a totem. The totem was first adopted by Chinese ancestors and worshipped by the Chinese people. And this is why Chinese are also called descendants of the dragon. So, I mean, I'm kind of like, dinosaurs is what I'm thinking. It's a type of dinosaur, maybe undiscovered, but
leg looks like it has muscle tone to it.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And this looks like old scale. Obviously, there's a lot of it. It's like, sort of dehydrated, like sort of petrified, I guess, better way to put it. Long ago, experts believed that dragons were fictional creatures that only existed in books.
No.
Right?
They're not fictional.
Oh, I don't believe they're fiction either. I really don't.
Very real.
The dragon fossil was discovered in 1996 and has been well preserved. It is 7.6 meters long. It has a head that's 76 centimeters long and a beak of 54 centimeters long. The body is 2.7 meters and the width is 68 centimeters with a tail length of 3.7 meters. Its head is shaped like a triangle. Its mouth measures 43 centimeters long. The widest part of the head measures 32 centimeters in length. The horns project from the highest point of the head and are symmetrical and 27 centimeters long. They're slightly curved and tilted, making the fossil closely resemble the legendary dragon. The cheaper dragon was a reptilian animal that lived in the ocean in the Triassic period 200 million years ago. It was an amphibian. He spent most of his time living in the water, although he sometimes walked on land. She also laid eggs on the ground and lived on fish and small reptiles. This is the first time Chia has found a dragon fossil with a pair of horns. Her discovery provides some evidence showing that dragons really could have horns. The fossil provides important scientific information for people to trace the origin of the legendary Chinese dragon. Well, that's it. It sits in a museum. Chime in, people.
So, is the horn structure different than bone? Is it?
I it's like nails, I guess. Wouldn't it be like horns? I know with, for example, like rhinos, it could be filed. It would be like a nail, like from their hooves, something
Yeah.
similar. So maybe it's the same. I mean, here's an up close. Looks like bone. It looks like it just comes right up from the head,
Yes.
and they have the largest. I think it's spectacular.
I
Whatever the
think it's
case may be.
spectacular too. And I want to know why there's not a photo with somebody selfieing beside it. Is there one? Oh, we got a guy's butt. That's a really good selfie.
Yeah, this is the other one that they showed that they had
With no horns.
Yeah, so that tells me that they've got two, right? And this is the one they've just found.
Kind of look webbed if you go back to that other one.
This one, yeah. Yes. Well, this is the one that it stays in the water.
It is. Oh.
And then you've got this one that they've just found. It's crazy. Any way you look at it, it's crazy, and I love it. It's just wild, and it's a great way to end off, the open mic night.
It looks like the image that I posted on Facebook about demonic dogs. We're gonna love them anyway. Yeah. I would bring one of those home.
I love it. I love it. So as we come into the top of the hour, Kerrilynn, go ahead. Tell us about your show, your guests, what you got coming up, everything.
Friday evenings at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Tomorrow night, I have Lily Nova coming on. She will be talking about her contactee experiences. So I hope you join us in the chat tomorrow, 6 p.m. It'll be a good one. This is going to be fun. We're going to be talking about DNA downloads, star family, and star seeds, DNA activations.
I love it. And what else do you have coming up that you want to promote?
I have a couple of events that I haven't done in a while. So I'm doing the Love Life Afterlife event, which is like a 2-hour message gallery question answer in Odessa near Kingston, coming up July 6th. Another one at the Princess Avenue Playhouse in St. Thomas. We're going to have 20 tickets available to do an investigation after the event. So we're going to get to do a paranormal investigation of the theater. It's a former church. And all of the seats in the theater are the original pews of the church. It's a great place to check out. And I will be at the Lake Superior Paracon this year in Thunder Bay in October 4th, 5th, and 6th. And I'll be doing a Spirits and Sweets 2-hour gallery event there too.
Ooh, lots of stuff. So you have to just follow her on Facebook on her page, which is...
It is it's on Facebook, Kerrilynn Shellhorn, psychic medium Kerrilynn Shellhorn.
Or the website?
I do. It's kerrylynshellhorn.com. I have an intuitive development private group on Facebook as well, too. It's Kerrylynn's Morning Porch. I post all kinds of stuff there for you guys to practice, stretch those muscles, and... Yeah,
and
I have a newsletter. So the newsletter goes out at the beginning of the month, which has like the guest lineup and where I'm going to be and all that fun stuff. And yeah.
See, this guys have to follow, so you know. So, and Kerrilynn, very, very gifted, and very, very gifted, and one of my favorite people to sit and read with. So, check her out. You need some insight. There's your girl.
Thank you.
There you are. There you are. So, guys, thank you. What?
He's just saying, I love the name of your show, Spirit Switchboard. Thank you.
Wait. So everybody who tuned in, thank you. You guys make open mic night so much fun. You guys in chat just totally add to that and make us just want to keep doing it. But for anybody who's listening in, you are tuning in to The Outer Realm on Open Mic Night with my guest host and dear friend Kerrilynn Shellhorn. We're broadcasting live in United Public Radio, UFO Paranormal Radio, 105.3, 107.7 FM from New Orleans, Now, coming up Wednesday, we welcome our very own Ryan Stacy from Skeptical Sleuth. And he's coming on to talk about research in UFOs. And he's going to talk about a lot of Canadian sightings and, contact stories and things of that nature. And he does things very, very different. And he's just brilliant. He's been on before, but we're going to bring him on again. And you guys can come in and check him out on Monday
What a
nights.
great show.
Yeah, 5 p.m. Eastern on Monday. So if you haven't had the opportunity to check him out yet, please do so. And Thursday night, we welcome for the first time Jeff Selver. And he's going to be talking about his book, The Rising, and the alien plan to build an enlightened city on Earth. Right? That's just going to be really cool. So he's going to talk about experiences with gray aliens, and he's going to be talking. There's just so much to his story. I can't stress enough to just tune in. And he currently resides in Vancouver, BC. So we're dealing again with another fellow Canadian. So until then, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Kerrilynn, for coming and joining in and having some fun. We'll have to do this again. It was just awesome. And everybody have a great weekend. Tune into Kerrilynn Show tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. And have a good time. Show her some love.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.